In this lecture, we want to find out how many of these employees will be retiring on the 22nd of November 2030. Now, their age as of today is 45, 34. Let's change this to 48, 56, and let's say 42. And I want to find out how many of these people would be retiring as of the 22nd of November 2030. Now, the first thing I want to do is to find out what would be the age on 22nd of November 2030. To do this, we will say equal to today, and today gives us obviously today's date, which means that if I take the end date and I subtract today, it tells us the number of days like this. Okay, let me make sure to, oh, exactly. So because we have 22nd of November in all the cells, obviously it will be 3815. Now, how does that help us? Now, this tells us what is the duration in number of days between today and the 22nd of November. But we don't want to see it in days, right? We want to see this in years. So we can write a function called year frac. I can choose the starting date as today and the end date would be the 22nd of November 2030. And now it tells me that 2030 is 10.44 years from today. The rest is very simple. We can take the age and add it to the year frac. So it tells us what would be the age of all these individuals on 22nd of November 2030. And then finally, we can say that if the result of this entire formula is greater than 60, then we say retire. Otherwise, we want to find out how many years are left to retirement, right? So we can say otherwise, tell me 60 minus this entire value. And very smartly now it tells me we seem to have made a mistake. Let's quickly check what has gone wrong. So we have our if statement. Okay, we don't want to close this parentheses and we're going to close one here. Okay, let's see. So if you notice, it tells us that employee number 4 would be retiring. So let's just call this employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, employee 4, and employee 5. And it tells us that employee 4 would be retiring on the 20 by the 22nd of November 2030. And for all the others, this would be, okay, hold on. This is not looking correct. Let's just make sure that we're getting the right result. So we need to find the age which is there in 22nd November 2030. So their age would be, let's just check once. Okay, so their age would be 55 and I can simply do 60 minus, okay, I think everything needs to be in a parentheses and okay, it's working perfectly now. Now let's understand what is happening. It is telling us that for employee 1, as of the 22nd of November 2030, he would not be retiring and he would have 4.56 years left for retirement. So we can simply write here and left for retirement, and our final result looks like this. Not to worry, this problem occurs when you have a calculation and it shows multiple decimal places. Now because we only want to show, let's say, 2 decimal places, we will have to write this entire result that we are getting with 2 decimals. So we can write text and we can make this 0.00 so that my results come with. Let's check that once again. So we have our text function. I have to close the parentheses here. And if you notice, we are getting a wonderful result that looks like this. It tells us that for employee 1, he has 4.56 years left for retirement as of the 22nd of November 2030. Employee 2 will have 15 years left. Employee 4, if you notice, would have retired, right? And if you notice, I can keep any end date. So I can make this, let's say, the 1st of January 2025, for example, or let's make it 2040. And all of these can be connected to this one cell. And I can tell the user that you choose date for your calculation Now, what this means is the user can choose any date. If you notice, if the user chooses the 1st of January 2040, only one of these existing 5 employees would still be there and they would have 6.45 years left for retirement. If I make it 45, would only have 1.45 years. And if I make it 1st of January 2050, obviously by then everybody would have retired. But if I'm checking only for 25, then 4 will still be active. And if I'm checking, let's say 23, then all of these 5 employees are going to be active, right? So a quick recap. We first find out the year frac. So the year frac tells us the difference between today and the end date in years as a fraction. We added the current age to that number and we checked whether it was greater than 60. If it was greater than 60, then the result is retire. If it is not greater than 60, then I want to find out how many years are left along with the text left for retirement, like this, right? So I hope you like the result. It is a very descriptive result. It tells us who's going to retire and it also tells us for the ones who will not retire, how many years do they have left for retirement.